I will always put my money in you. I will always believe that you know what's going on. You know what's going on in Ireland. You know what's happening. The great people of Ireland are having enough with what they perceive to be unfair, unlimited, and mindless immigration excesses. I know exactly how they feel. They're going to argue about whether these stabbings were directly the result of some Algerian or whether it was somebody who was Irish. I mean, listen, let's get to the bottom of this. If you're going to claim something, if you're going to claim some event as the basis or bases of your anger, then make sure you know what the hell you're talking about. I'm all for that. I dig it. But what I also dig is that people are sick of this. They are seeing their countries and their areas and their towns overrun by people from elsewhere, given places, given apartments and places to live for reasons nobody can understand. And what's happening also is that when people bring this up, you're called far right or nationalist or racist or some kind of a Trump lunatic. The bottom line is simply this. There is something about the invasion of land. Shall I mention Israel and Palestine? What is that about? Land. 75 years old. Land. 1948. The Nakba. The settlements. The UN. Whatever you want to call it. It's not about religion. It's not about nativism. It's not about hate. It's about land. It's about the notion of sovereignty. It's the idea that, wait a minute, there was no this transfer or this invasion or this overwhelming deluge of humanity was never something we bargained for, never something we were a part of. And what's also happening right now is you're seeing more and more of violence being perpetuated, percolated, promulgated, pushed, accelerated, encouraged. You're seeing this. I'm seeing this. All of us are seeing this. This is something that goes without saying. This is something that goes, my friends, without saying. This goes without saying. And I'm telling you right now, believe me when I say it's going to get worse. Here in New York City, we're seeing massive departures of the police. I mentioned this story before about in Chicago, how these overweight female cops were unable to cuff an assailant. So not only do we not have police, do we not have domestic military, we don't have any sense of commitment to protecting anybody, not to mention hate, disgust, anger, frustration being promulgated, promoted, perpetuated, forced on the parts of people who just want very, very simple things. Just the idea of fairness. There isn't a country in the world who would anyway say, hey, come on into my world. Come on in. I don't care whether you're legal. I don't care whether you're unlegal. We're going to give you all the money you need, all the resources you need, all the help, because we're schmucks. We're going to give this to you, and everything's going to be groovy. You've got nothing to worry about. Everything is terrific. Just be happy. We're going to do. This is exactly what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that somehow you're supposed to sit back and say, come on in. You never voted on it. You never asked for it. And let me also remind you, the initial powder keg, the ignition point of Ireland, may be subject to debate. I am not arguing that point. Let me make this clear. It's not about why they're arguing or rioting, why they're upset. I'm not suggesting that. But what is motivating them, right or wrong in terms of this instance, but they weren't saying this before. I'm seeing it here in New York. Hotels, all of a sudden, the Roosevelt, the Watson on 57th Street, all of a sudden flooded with people here in New York on motorcycles, scooters, no tags, no registration, no license. Who are these people? How did they get here? We've been asking this question for the longest time in Mayorkas and others, even at the behest and the indefatigable, unrelenting questioning from Torquemada, Josh Hawley and Jim Jordan and others. Nothing stops. Not one little hiccup. Not one moment of change, cessation, interruption, nothing. It is brutal. I've never seen anything like this. So when you see what's going on there, it's going to happen elsewhere. And we live in a world right now because social media is now making this choreographed professional tumult and screaming and yelling cool. It's making people say, yeah, I like this. So take whatever the particular claim is, whatever the source of anger is, and accentuate it, multiply it by a factor of whatever, of people who think this is cool, this is great, this is wonderful, this is commensurate with our notion of fairness. This is the way we show anger. We are right. We are motivated. We are focused. We are committed to this. This is exactly what's going on. Listen to what I'm saying. It's incredible, my friends. The question I have to ask you is very simply this. Do you not see what's going on? Yes, you do. So where is it going to end? It's not going to end nicely. It's not going to end peacefully. This is just the beginning. And all this before the election. So who is going to use this? How is Gavin Newsom going to deal with this? How will RFK deal with this? Which, by the way, remember, every vote for RFK pulls away from Trump. I don't care what anybody says. Because what is he saying? Anti-vax, so to speak. And he's against this trans nonsense. And also he's pro-Israel. Don't forget that. And let me remind you also, the basis, the gravamen, the instigator, the idea of what all of the Israeli-Palestinian war, so to speak, is about land and ownership and title and occupation and invasion and perceived invasion. That's what it's about. Don't misunderstand this. And get used to this. What you are seeing right now is something so obvious, so critically obvious. I'm telling you right now, it's going to get worse. It's not going away, my friends. And unless somebody does something about it now, by design and by organization, it's going to hit a flashpoint that you are not going to believe and that you are not going to be able to tolerate. Thank you for watching. Please tell me what you believe. What are your comments? What are your thoughts? What's your take on this? I ask you, as you comment, as you see fit.